All right. We are live on the Facebooks and the YouTubes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast. We are joined this week by our good friend Vincent.
Hello. How you doing, everybody?
Hanging out with us tonight, chatting about Disney World reopening. And we're gonna just kind of hang out and chat all things Disney, which is what we do on this podcast. So, anyways, we'll get going here in just a minute. I'm going to mute everybody, and actually we'll do it right now. We'll get rocking and rolling. Let's not waste any time. Mute. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ThrillGeek Podcast. I'm Clint.
I'm Barry, and we have a special guest this week, returning champion. He has his VincentVision YouTube channel. It's Vincent.
Give us the intro.
Hey, everybody! It's me, Vincent. Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, hold on. I actually have a pair of sunglasses.
There we go.
They were disposable. I just threw them in the mall.
I was gonna say, did you break them?
No, there is some. I got
the dog behind you is probably going, "What the hell is going on?"
There he is.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
he's here too.
Cute puppy dog. This week we are going to be talking all things Disney World. We have returned to the parks somewhat.
I love the way you said that. We have returned. Return of. Or no, wait. What did you call your most recent vlog, Vincent? What was it?
I called it a Rise of the Distance.
Rise of the Distance.
It's a play on of Rise of the Resistance.
Rise of the Distance. So, Barry, you've been to Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom,
and Animal
Kingdom, just not Epcot yet. I don't think any of us have been to Epcot yet. So Epcot will not be discussed on this week's podcast. But all three of us have been to one or all of the other three parks. So where do we want to start? Where do we want to start discussing? You want to start Magic Kingdom, Barry?
We might as well start with Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
That's the original. I believe, Vincent, you were there for the Thursday pass holder preview.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for the Friday pass holder preview. And it's different. I mean we've had this, same discussion about Universal, but you're going to a park, I hate to say this, in the middle of a pandemic. There's different things you have to do. You have to wear a mask, you have to distance, you have to constantly wash your hands. But how was the feeling for you? Because someone asked me in one of the interviews I did, was the magic still there? And I was like, in a way it is, but it is different. What about you, Vincent?
So I'll say, right off the bat, I'm a big theme park guy. I love theme parks, obviously, but I was never. I'm shocked. Yeah, it turns out I really like them. I've been thinking about it, and I think I really like them. No, but
you really?
Well, we can get into it. That's a whole other podcast. We can go into that. But I never was a person that was like the magic of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah,
I will say, the thing with Disney is, and especially coming to Disney now in a pandemic, it really is almost disarming where you kind of forget that there's this awful thing that's been going on for the past couple of months. And bear with me here that this is going to be I don't want the statement to be misconstrued, but that annual pass holder preview, just not anybody being there and you going into the park and it was empty and you're able to walk on every ride, that really reinvigorated my love for Magic Kingdom in general. Like Magic Kingdom, like for me personally, out of all of the 4, had always kind of been like the bottom end, just because it's like you have to get on the monorail, and get on the boat, and
it's exhausting.
And it's always the busiest park. It's
Yeah.
like you can't ride anything. You know what I mean? I go, well, everything's 2 hours. What am I supposed to do? Like with this annual pass for the preview and like the actual day that when the park opened up, like I went on Monday the 13th. So I didn't go on the opening weekend. I went on the first Monday.
Yeah.
It was easy. It was so easy to get around, and just being able to experience those rides again. And I don't know, it felt kind of like how it used to be, like when you when there was an off season, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I remember those days.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the closest I can think to remember, like, you know, in the last 5 to 10 years has been a couple of those nights where the temperature got down into like the 30s during the winter time, and people just left and were in, you know, the last 2 hours the park was open, it was like, you know, dead because everyone was freezing. But it was definitely, you know, Magic Kingdom, you know, that to me was one of the biggest hurdles. It's like, okay, well, how are they going to do the monorail? How are they going to do the ferry? And the way they did it ended up being pretty well done with you know, assigning you know, for the monorail, you're like assigned a number, and then, you know, you either go to the right seat or the left seat, and you have to sit. The ferry boat, you basically stand on a dot. You know, and it actually worked very well. And since the park's capacity is so limited, even first thing in the morning, there wasn't a real backup to get to the park.
And if you show up at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, there's nobody at all. Everyone's already inside the park. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I know. Pass holder preview day, I had to take the ferry boat back to the transportation ticket center, and on opening day we had to take the boat back because there were times in the morning, I guess in the first half of the day, where they weren't loading the monorail to take people back, and we were the only people in the ferry boat. We had an entire ferry boat to ourselves. and I can't ever remember that. You know, I mean, it's definitely.
Was there anything? I mean, kind of for either of you, Vincent or Barry, was there anything surprising, or was everything pretty much what you thought it was going to be throughout your day at the Magic Kingdom? Was there anything that you went, "Oh wow, that's surprising," or "I didn't expect that"?
For me, it was how often, you know, I think we talked about it sort of in the preview of the different things they're doing with the characters. There's no meet and greets.
Yeah.
There's no real shows. The only thing they're doing is like cavalcades down the parade route. And I was shocked how frequent that was.
I love that. I think that was awesome.
It was about like every 15 minutes, a different cavalcade was coming down the parade route. You know, you had the I finally got to you know, you had the stepsisters on the balcony of the back of Cinderella's castle. Just
everybody loved that. That was one video that did really well on our Twitter, where the stepsisters up there on the back area of the castle, which was really bizarre. Every now and then we'll post a video that on Twitter, and it's weird people's reception on something. It's like
it just, I mean, it's something simple. I mean, they're always like, you know, a fun meet and greet, and they're like one of the ones that's usually, it's not an announced meet, you know, a scheduled meet and greet. They just sort of show up around Cinderella's castle normally. Yeah. And their whole shtick has always been sort of making fun of, you know, sort of chatting with people and making fun of themselves. And so they just, you know, they're up on a balcony now. They don't have to stop and take pictures. So they're just, you know, going to town and having fun. And, you know, it was those little things like that it was nice to see the characters in a different way. It's not about getting a picture with them and taking and getting their autograph or anything like that. It's just, hey, boom, they appear and you know, it's totally random. It's not you don't see a set schedule because obviously they don't want people standing along the parade route waiting for them.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Vincent? Was there anything that kind of surprised you at the park, or?
I mean, bouncing off what Barry was saying, like, yeah. I think the frequency of these characters showing up was awesome, and it really made it feel like the Magic Kingdom, where you're seeing these characters more often, and you're seeing them in these like different scenarios. I think Disney World has trained the guests to expect to wait in a line and walk into a room, and Cinderella's standing there and she's like, "Hi there, come on, let's take a picture." So to have the girls up there on the top, and have Merida going down the street on a horse, and Gaston going down on a horse, and seeing all the characters, like I thought that was really, really cool, and that added to like the magic. But I think something that I saw pictures of on Twitter when they were doing cast member previews was that really threw me off at first were those giant plexiglass walls in the queues.
The slaughterhouse walls.
Oh my God. It was like, I was like, what is going on here? And it's like, I get why it's there. And there's a lot of like queues that like could definitely benefit from it. But it's like, once you're actually there, they weren't as bad. They were still like, I mean, right now in this time that we're in, theming and thematic consistency can take a back seat, it can very well take a back seat. We're fine with that, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I just think for me, like the only thing when I saw that was like, I'm like, oh, they really think it's going to get busy enough that they're going to have to fill up every single row on like, I don't know, Big Thunder Mountain or Expedition Everest, where it was like literally every single lane has a thing based off the pictures I saw. And it did. It wasn't busy at all. But
it's funny. It's funny you mentioned Big Thunder. Like when you're going down into the loading area, it felt like you were going through a cattle chute. And
they have it, and it's like they're not even using the other side. So why put it up in the first place if you're gonna? But I guess they're expecting to eventually need to use the other side. Which
those plexiglass things are not going away anytime soon. And I think the other thing, I mean, there's that, like you said, the entertainment popping up everywhere. I forgot about the Country Bears up on top of the balcony in front of the Country Bears. I never caught apparently in Tomorrowland like Stitch or Buzz Lightyear would show up on the stage. That was probably more of a photo op than some of the other ones were.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that was more like a normal kind of like how they've been doing at Universal with the characters.
Where you can do a picture with them in the boat.
That was a little more like, I guess, like traditional.
But as far as the attractions go, I don't know if you agree with me. Outside of like the Haunted Mansion, it's the same. Yeah, totally. you're just in the case like you said on Big Thunder, you're getting an entire car to yourself. On Pirates and like Small World, they load the front and the back of the boat. I guess and didn't get to go on Jungle Cruise, but they have like plexiglass dividers and stuff, and so it was definitely some rides nothing's different, like Winnie the Pooh. You get your own car, but it was not, like I said. Number one, I rode Seven Dwarfs Mine Train twice in one day. So I don't think I've ever done that. And then the most I waited for it was 15 minutes. So
and no fast.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh. That is the best thing. No fast pass. How amazing. Like, I love going to the park and not like having to worry about fast pass and like just getting in line for everything. Like that was so nice.
Yeah.
Good riddance. Good riddance.
Oh no. And I mean, going to the park, like at the end of the day and the last 2 hours, it was dead. I mean, we walked on the Space Mountain. We walked on the Mine Train. I mean, almost everything in the park was a walk on. And, I mean, it's like you said, the park is missing some things. There's a bunch of restaurants and some shops that are not open.
Yeah.
There's no fireworks. There's no parades.
There's no fireworks at Disney.
There's no real shows. But it's a different experience I think it's definitely I felt safe, if we want to get into that. I mean, you wear a mask all day. Everyone has to wear a mask, and they were enforcing it. I mean, I saw there was someone who had it just below their nose, and a cast member was like, "No, you got to put it up over your nose."
Yeah.
Which, that was the one thing I think a lot of us were worrying about with Disney is just them. They haven't been the best at enforcing things, especially in the last like 5 to 10 years. But it's like, that's the thing. If you want to go there, you've got to follow these rules. You've got to wear a mask. You've got to distance. You've got to wash your hands.
From a person that does vlogs, Vincent, has it been kind of interesting for you doing videos now with the masks and empty theme parks and that sort of thing? Has it been have any?
There's definitely been a lot of pros and a lot of cons.
Yeah.
The biggest pro is the fact that they pretty much just put you by yourself in a car. One of my biggest worries is like anytime I've ever done like I've ever filmed a ride or anything like that, I always like try to be like conscious of the people around me and not to like ruin their experience.
Yeah,
but now they can put me on Rise of the Resistance by myself, and it's like a dream, where I can
like, yes.
I'm literally like, it's like I sit in the middle and like I have my camera and this is video so people can see me, and it's like I'll like lean and I'll like do that and I'll go up and back and like it's awesome, and then you can just like, oh my gosh, we're here, like it's like, so it's really cool because of that. Doing this, the mask is the mask. With Universal being opened earlier, like I've been able to, I guess I've been training myself for Disney World and stuff like that, but it's getting hotter and hotter. I went to Hollywood Studios yesterday. I forgot the days were all just blended in together. But
this time in 2020, the dates just blend.
It's
together.
like it doesn't even matter anymore. It's just like, but I'm sure we'll talk about more about Hollywood Studios. But man, it's so hot, and it's just getting hotter and hotter. And thank God they have those relaxation zones and stuff like that. Even though like most of them are like outside.
But when it came closer to a realization that we were going to have to wear masks at the parks, was it worse or kind of the same for you as far as wearing the mask? I mean, it's hot, down here in Florida, that sucks. But what you were thinking about what it was going to be like versus what actually happened with you wearing the mask, was it kind of the same or was it worse wearing the mask, your time in the parks?
No, I would say, sorry, I just smacked my thing there, but I would say that it's not. I think Disney opening later kind of worked out for, at least for someone for me who has been out already and has kind of been going and doing all the parks and stuff like that. Like I'm definitely a little more used to the mask scenario, and I don't think it really impedes too much on your experience. Me personally, I didn't have any problems with it, and I know that like if I need to drink my water, or I can go off to the side. I'm not just going to stop in the middle of the street and just woo, I'm going to drink this water here. And no, like they have places for you to do that. So I didn't think it was too bad, honestly.
No, I mean to me, and Clint's probably on the same page. Clint and I have been working the entire time this has been going on.
Same.
We've been out with the public, especially with my job. I'm out every day. I've been having to wear a mask every day. My comfort level is different. I've said I feel safer going to Disney or Universal than I do going to the grocery store. But I am someone who's been going out the entire time this has been going on. For someone who's probably been sitting at home this whole time, I don't know if you would probably not feel very comfortable going out to this.
I've actually had people like ask me, they're like, "Oh, you're big into theme parks and everything. Have you been back to the theme parks? How's it like wearing your mask at the theme parks?" I'm like, it's like wearing a mask when I go to the grocery store, when I go to whatever. It's a theme park, and it's hot. It's miserable without the mask. And with the mask, it's still hot and miserable. So
no, I mean the heat has been, this summer has been very, very hot, and it's having the mask on. For me, it's a little bit extra, but the heat already is bad to begin with. So
and I will say this, since Allie is watching, and then I see her in the chat room here, the universal masks are far superior than the Disney masks.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Because they're actual park specific masks.
Yeah, well, that and they're more comfortable. They're lightweight and they just breathe better. And I have the Disney actually gave us one of the Disney masks, the Monsters Inc. one, and they fit really small.
It's like a square. It's like a
yeah,
square
it's like
versus
a square.
like a ninja mask.
And people,
yeah.
I see people with big heads, which is me. I have a big head, and it looks like
I don't
it's
know
like
what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. But it looks like it's like stretched out, and it's like this. It just looks uncomfortable. And they do have different sizes in the Disney mask, so I don't know why I would want to go any smaller than the one that we got was a large.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough about mask talk. Let's jump over to Hollywood Studios, and let's talk about one thing that we were all excited to get back to, and that is Galaxy's Edge. And I'm sure Vincent was very, very excited to get back to his Galaxy's Edge, to get back to Batuu.
Yeah, I had
So
a lot of different emotions at Galaxy's Edge.
Can
I'm
I-
sure Barry could tell you.
Can I? Yeah, we were actually. You know what? We'll get to that. But first, can I? I'm very curious as to your passion about Galaxy's Edge. Why you love it so much? I'm just curious. Can you kind of?
As a setup to this, he flew out to California.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? Like a 2-day trip?
Yeah,
Is it
so
just-
they announced it. Well, I'm a big Star Wars guy, and I mean, okay, basically, long story short, Galaxy's Edge is like my Harry Potter. Like, you know what I mean? It's like my
Sure.
Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
I got it,
Where it's a land based off of a set of movies and a franchise that I have grown up with, and I'm familiar with, and I've adored, and now I have a place that I can go, and it's 20 minutes away from my house. But they made 2 of them, and the one in California opened up first. So I flew to California to be there, part of the opening, and I got to be there, the first group of people to see it for the first time. And a lot of it was just like the way Disney was hyping it up, made it seem like, and it was, and I'll say it, I'll say it. This is probably the most anticipated theme park land ever. Because Harry Potter took people by surprise. I don't think people were expecting Harry Potter to be as good, but I think people have fantasized about a Star Wars land forever. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then to finally get it in my lifetime, it's great.
It's been a long time waiting.
Yeah. So it's great. And I just like it a lot because of that. And like when it first opened up here in Walt Disney World, when my annual pass, I literally would that was the only park I went to for like months. I would just go and I would just hang around.
That's awesome.
I really do like it a lot.
And you was the Disneyland one, the vlog you did where you I remember the opening. It was like you waking up out of your hotel room and everything with the music, with the rain theme and everything. That was
exactly
so awesome.
It. Well, I mean, that's how it is, right? That's how you got up super early and you're getting your clothes and everyone's got their Star Wars song playing in their hearts as they get ready to see this place for the first time. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Michael says Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is awesome. You are right, Michael. It is.
I would agree with you, Michael, very much.
Very, very awesome. So going back to it now with the pandemic going on and all the changes, what were your thoughts on kind of go over what you saw and some things you liked and some things you didn't like, because
there are a lot of things I liked, and there were definitely maybe one thing I didn't like. But
you can mention that. That's fine.
We'll definitely get into that because I got a lot of thoughts. But I will say one of my biggest concerns was just in general, like when the cast member preview was happening for Magic Kingdom and they were showing everything there, I really did have a moment in my mind where I kind of panicked and I was like, oh my gosh, is all of this going to take away from like the Star Wars experience? Am I not going to feel like I'm in the world of Star Wars anymore? And I'll say, I think honestly, like it hasn't taken away from it. Like I still go to Batuu and it still feels the same. And like the characters are still there, everything is still there. Like they haven't really lost anything. So like there are some changes and stuff like that, the way you go about things, but you're still getting a very good Star Wars experience.
Yeah,
when you go now.
exactly. Go ahead, Barry. Were you gonna say something?
No, and I mean they still have Chewie, Rey, the Stormtroopers, Kylo Ren out. They're just not out in the crowd. The irony is is Chewie, Rey, the Stormtroopers are using the stages that they were supposed to be using to begin with. So I found that as a little bit of irony that they're now using the locations that they were originally supposed to use in the first place. Yeah. It feels they've obviously had to modify a few things. They've added some more seating out and about that unfortunately isn't covered or doesn't even have an umbrella on it. So it's they've changed the way the marketplace is, where you have to wait in line just to get into the marketplace area. All the food, the milk stand, Ronto's Roasters, docking bay is all mobile order only. And then of course there's less seating in those areas. So it's like, even if you get your food, you may not even get to sit in the area that you need to sit.
When we were there on Monday, we were literally like mobile ordering, hopping with the kids, because we ordered a Ronto wrap and the sunset drink. What is it? The Tatooine Sunset or whatever it is?
Yes.
We ordered a Ronto wrap and 2 of those, and I got picky kids, so then we had to order mac and cheese and pasta at Docking Bay. So we were like literally like hopping down the food areas of Galaxy's Edge. But yeah, no, it was there are some changes obviously with the attractions, with Smuggler's Run, with Rise of the Resistance, which was really interesting. Monday when I was there with my wife, who's a cast member, her and my oldest got to ride, or actually, sorry, my two boys and her got to ride, and they were bypassing the pre-shows.
I think I saw that, and I was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah, I was pretty bummed out about that, because that was the first time that they had ridden. So
crap!
Yeah, my little girl, she's not tall enough yet, and they were bypassing the pre-show. But luckily, we had a rider swap. Like I said, my little daughter, she wasn't big enough, and Jordan and I, my oldest, we went back, and they were running it. So at least he got the full experience. So. Vincent, why don't you tell us about your attempt to ride Rise of the Resistance?
Go ahead.
I said, I really want to ride Rise of the Resistance, and I said, can I ride, please? And they said, yes, come on in. Here, use the fast pass line that we built here that we don't ever use. And that was it. And that was the end of it.
Is that Vincent from VincentVision?
They were like, "Oh my God, you're that guy!" Yeah, dude, I love your. Please come on in. Yes, that's how I wish all.
Well,
went.
It's interesting because for the cast member preview, you waited in a standby line, which I found it interesting that they didn't test the what they're now calling the virtual queue on the cast members, but I'm sure there was probably a lot of logistics issues for that. Here we are, opening day, with this new virtual queue, this new version of the boarding group system that we had before. And there's now 3 times a day they're releasing: 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m. So Vincent and I are there.
We bump into each other as you do in these parks.
And 10 o'clock hits, and we're on our apps, and I believe I'm like, I got boarding group too. And you can take the rest of the story, Vincent.
And I can see the flames I watched your vlog, and I could see the flames in his eyes. So
I will tell you, anytime that I have tried to film myself getting a boarding group, it has just been doomed. It has been.
This isn't the only time this has happened with you on camera.
I went to Disneyland, and I had 2 days, and I tried to get Rise of the Resistance twice on both days, and I did, but each group was like 120. It was like
back in the day,
the end of the day, But I tried this time, and you pull it up, and I wasn't on there. I wasn't on there, but all of my friends were on there, and if I wanted, I could get them on Rise of the Resistance. but not me, not the guy who's literally in the park, has been in the park for an hour, and in a minute it was gone.
Yeah,
it was done in a minute, and it's just like, I was like, wait a minute.
So is this the screen? I mean, pardon my ignorance, because I've, between the media event and now the cast member preview, I've never had to deal with boarding groups.
I'm going to leave this. It's the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard. How dare you?
No,
I don't know what it's like in the trenches.
I don't. I apologize for that. But when you select the boarding group, you go in and you select your each person, right?
Yes. Yeah. So once the option to join comes up,
the
next page is you. And then whoever is on your friends list.
Whoever's on your friends list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like when you would like try and get like a fast pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But for some reason, mine just didn't show up. And I closed the app and refreshed it. And in that whole minute, they were all snatched up.
They were all gone.
Yeah. And I realized that I was going to put this on video and put it in like something that the people could watch. So I definitely tried to restrain myself to the best of my ability, but I was definitely freaking out. And it's not like, and especially with now the added sort of pressure of the park pass system, where I was like, oh, I don't just get to try again tomorrow. I don't just get to try again next week. I get to try again in September. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and especially as someone who's like making a video, you want to have good content. So like you want to be able to get on Rise of the Resistance. You don't want to be like, oh, I didn't get it. Sorry guys.
Sorry guys. See you next week.
I'll see you guys in September when I get to come here again.
So did you try again later at one of the other time slots?
I literally
you give up?
I did a 180 and
I Karen'd and
I literally got on my speeder straight to the entrance of Rise of the Resistance, where there was literally everyone who was at Hollywood Studios was at there, either A, getting in line for their boarding group, which worked, congratulations, and then B, forming a line to talk to the one person from guest relations who was out there. Their poor soul. Shout out to Les. Very, very helpful. I was able to talk to him, and he was able to get me in a group with another friend who I had bumped into, and he was able to just add me onto his. And I think they realized like, okay, this isn't working 100% perfect, so we're just going to try to do our best to accommodate people, which is really great. And it's the opening day, and you were talking about customer preview with them having to do the standby line, and the standby line I heard was miserable. But as I was going up and trying to talk to him, I was like, why the flip did they not try this during cast member preview? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I was kind of baffled as to why they didn't, do a little soft test of it. Because I was getting ready for it. I was like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? Sunday night when I was going to take the family there for the cast member preview, I was like, all right, what do I got to do for this boarding group thing? Because I had 2 kids and a wife that had never ridden it, and I was like, I want to get a boarding group pass. And then cast member preview had started, and on wasn't Sunday the first night for Hollywood Studios for cast member?
Monday.
Was
Monday
it Monday?
It was Mondays, and Monday was the first one.
I just think it's crazy that if you're fortunate enough to get a reservation for Hollywood Studios, because it's the hottest ticket right now, you can get all the other parks, especially now that they've freed up the availability for at least, it's speaking on behalf of annual pass holders. I know that for like, if you buy a day ticket and like a resort, it's a different story. But like, I think it's just crazy to me that you can have a reservation to the park that's supposed to be like crowd controlled, and there's a possibility that you might not get a reservation to ride Rise of the Resistance. Like,
well, when I was there on Monday for the cast member preview, it was standby only. And when we got there, when we got in the park around 9:30, 9:45, I believe it was, obviously we bolted right back there because that was the first thing we were going to get done out of the way. Standby was already through the tunnel out to
Grand Avenue, like baseline.
Yeah, like right outside the tunnel, maybe 20, 30 people outside the tunnel.
Yeah.
So I told the wife, I was like, just go ahead and get in line. And I think she was trying to keep track of how long the time was, and they were in line for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. But it was constantly moving.
Yes, and I will say, a big thing we talked about earlier, about things that were kind of like a surprise.
Yeah.
All of these socially distanced lines are super, super intimidating. in the sense that they all stretch out longer than you've ever seen. And like Space Mountain was like posted at a 15 or 20-minute wait, and you saw that it went all the way to like close to the bathrooms, and you're like, I'm not waiting in that 20 minutes. That's not 20 minutes, you know? And then you get in and you're like, okay, that was 20 minutes. Yeah. So I can imagine something for Rise of the
Resistance. I mean, you should have seen the line for Runaway Railway.
Oh my gosh.
They had to put pieces of tape all throughout the plaza area in front of the attraction, you know, normally where everyone would stand for the shows, the Star Wars show at night. Just pieces of tape, because the line they just had the line going like almost like serpentine through that whole area.
When we were there on Monday, they must still be figuring out. Yeah. They must still be figuring out the wait times with these socially distanced, you know, markers and stuff. Obviously, that spaces people out more. So, you know, it throws off the wait times. You know, this whole area of the queue isn't full. So, but when we were there on Monday, the line went outside. But if you're facing the entrance to the Chinese Theater Runaway Railway, that little area off to the right that has the outdoor queue, that was about half full, and the line said the wait time said 45 minutes, and we waited like 25 probably, but we were stuck in line when they did the whole cleaning thing, which takes a lot of time on Runaway Railway. They clean because they were running like probably 6 trains on Runaway Railway, 7 trains, so they'd have to spray it down. They said, because you know they can't load people on once they spray it down. They send it to like dry off or whatever.
Yeah. I think that I felt that like on Rise of the Resistance. Like on Rise of the Resistance, we were in that the interrogation room. You know, the room before. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't been on Rise of the Resistance yet. Watch the video. When the sort of the wall busts open.
Yeah.
They're like, come on in. Like I remember like I was in that room for like an extended amount of time, and I was like, maybe they're cleaning it. I don't know what's going on. But
I experienced that on Toy Story, Slinky Dog Dash and Runaway Railway, where they have the little like things that they use in like, you know, for fertilizer and pest control, and they spray the trains down. Yeah. And then they send the train, and then they, you know, dry it off. But they did that on Runaway Railway for like all 7 trains, and I was like, oh, so this is why it said a 45-minute wait.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to gauge because it's, you know, for Hollywood studios, at least for my experience there, it's like everybody was either in line for Rise or in line for Runaway Railway, and then almost everything else, maybe Slinky Dog had a little bit more of a wait, but almost everything else was like 10, 15 at the most. I mean, when I came back in the evening, I mean, we walked on Smuggler's Run. Tower was like 10 minutes. You know, I mean, and then even we got in line.
I finally did build a droid.
We got in line at the end of the night for Runaway Railway, and I think we waited 15 minutes. So,
and can I say that is one of, now that I've done it, yes, I took advantage of the 50. Look, here's Vincent.
Here's my dog.
Droid. Yeah.
I built my dog. Sorry, Ken.
No, you know, obviously I took advantage of the 50% off cast member discount with the Droid Depot, and it's a fun experience. You know, I couldn't tell at one point whether I was having more fun or my kids were having more fun doing it.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how they were able to do the Droid Depot versus Savi's workshop, because they're not doing the lightsabers. You can't build a custom lightsaber right now.
I think that's because the equity actors aren't back yet.
Oh, yeah. That's very true.
You went into Savi's though.
I did. It's a legacy lightsaber showcase now. So they'll bring, like, it was like 3 groups at a time, like one corner over here, one up there, and they have all the lightsabers they have on display. Yeah. And just like basically like what they used to do at Doc Ondar's, where it was that counter where someone could like, oh, hey, you want to see this lightsaber? Here you go. You had your own personal sort of like, it was like when you go into like a jewelry store and they're like, oh, yes, here. They would show you the lightsabers, and you had to sanitize your hands before you went in, because then they let you actually hold on to them. And like,
are you popping the question?
Like it was like, yeah, no, seriously, it was really cool, and it was I actually really like that a lot. But yeah, I guess the equity. Well, and apparently in Disneyland, it's not equity actors like the one in California.
Disneyland, out West Coast, it's different with that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the all the politics behind that, but apparently somebody told me that the reason why the lightsaber experience wasn't up yet is because the equity actors aren't yet, and the guy that does the whole the whole show, he's part of the equity actors, So,
and I think they want specific demands. They have demands that I think they haven't really agreed on yet.
It's a super cool experience, So I would
amazing.
I wouldn't want them to just take somebody and just randomly throw them in there. The
I'll do
actors. That would be amazing.
Now, from Clint, you got to do Aga's Cantina.
Yeah, Cantina. I almost walked right past it, but I was like, let me stop and see if I can get a reservation. And they had like 6 spots left, so I was like, yeah, I'll take one of those. And Cantina is very weird, because obviously I'm used to 2 or 3 times that I was in it before, the place was happening, the bar was open, DJ Rex is dropping his beats, and it's a cool happening place. And not to say it wasn't cool and hopping with all the new things going on in there, it was just a different experience because the main bar is closed, like the bar.
Yeah.
The only place you can get a drink are the like in wall like little cubbies in the wall cubbies, and the standing bars that are kind of sprinkled throughout the walkway, and I think it's like every other one, so it's running on very limited capacity, and it's a very different experience. You can actually hear DJ Rex, like I said, you can actually hear him in the music, and the whole power outage thing is so awkward now because it was like it happened when we were in there, and it was like so quiet, and the power went, and everybody was like, it was
they're
so
like,
awkward.
the tourism industry really is going down. They're losing power here.
Yeah, but like when you do it when you did it back, before coronavirus and all that, when you went in and we actually had people in there, and the power went out, it was like this big like, oh, like everybody audibly like reacted to it. But it was still a cool experience. It was just a very different experience in the cantina. We had the kids and we got a couple drinks, and it was interesting. So
it's funny. Yeah. It's funny what you miss when things change like this, because as you were talking about that, I was going, man, I used to hate how busy Oga's Cantina was, and the fact that they would literally like shove you in between 2 people and like give you a corner of a table, and they're like, all right, that's your corner. But now, like, I think
that
realize
that makes the cantina.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I would prefer to sit on a table any day, but the fact that there's not a whole bunch of people, it doesn't feel like the coolest club on Batu anymore,
Yeah, no, it felt more like I don't know what to compare it to.
Like a weird lounge.
It was a lounge. It was very quiet, and DJ, I mean, the only sound effects you heard were Rex and, maybe a minor chatter from other people around you. It wasn't this happening, place, but it was still cool. I still enjoyed it. The cantina is always a blast, no matter how many people are in there. But yeah, it is interesting, it's interesting, picking and choosing what we like and what we don't like as frequent visitors to these theme parks.
I mean, to me, one of the interesting things, especially like if you want to compare like Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios, there was a lot closed at Hollywood Studios. All the Hollywood Studios has a bunch of shows, so none of the shows are running. Basically, the back corner of the park is closed because Voyage of Little Mermaid, Launch Bay, Disney Junior are all not running. There's a lot of shops were closed. A lot of stands were closed. I
noticed that. I noticed that on Hollywood Boulevard, there was a lot of
Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, on that side, there were a lot of shops.
The Pixar stores closed, but a lot of the drink stands or merchandise stands were closed.
Did you, Vincent? Did you get to go into Launch Bay?
I did. It's a relaxation station.
Yeah. How weird was that? Was it,
dude? It was like the music was off.
Eerily
like,
quiet.
So quiet.
Yeah.
And I was like, that felt like the most like abandoned.
Yeah.
Like
it
I was
really
like,
did. Like I was there. I went in there with my little girl, and I was like, "Holy cow! I feel like I shouldn't be in here."
That one really did feel like that one kind of stung the most, just because, like, me personally, before Galaxy's Edge had opened up, I would always go to Launch Bay just to like be in the presence of Star Wars stuff in the parks.
Yeah,
and like have that feeling of like Galaxy's Edge is coming. It's coming.
It's
soon.
coming. It's coming.
It's the thing. We're gonna hang out here because it's where all the Star Wars stuff is happening. And then it was just like, now it's just like it feels like a post-apocalyptic like movie, or like, I don't know, you played Last of Us or something, where it's like you go into a store and it's like, oh, this used to be this place where people did stuff, and now it's nothing. Now you just stand there and you can take your mask off.
It was really, really bizarre walking in there when I was like, like I said, I felt like I felt like I shouldn't be in there. Like it was closed, and I was like sneaking around. I was like, can we like turn on the Star Wars music or something? Give me something here. I feel like I shouldn't be here. But yeah, no, it is one of the relaxation stations. And we probably should mention there is one in Galaxy's Edge. And I don't know if I saw another one. I don't think there's one in Toy Story Land. Is there?
No, I mean, Woody's lunchbox isn't open, so I mean, I saw a lot of people sitting there drinking and eating, and
I did see people sitting there. Now that you mention it, taking their masks off,
and it's and that's the other thing I noticed between there in the evening at Hollywood Studios, the food options are very limited.
Yeah.
You basically got the Star Wars stuff. Backlot Express closes at 4:30. All the sit-down restaurants are open except for the character buffet. That was a Hollywood and Vine. But after 4:30, you're very limited on the food options in the park. And that might be my one little slight complaint. About Hollywood Studios is if you're not into the Star Wars food in the evening, or you don't have a reservation at a sit down restaurant, you're sort of you don't have many choices. So
yeah.
I think another complaint that I have, like when we were talking about, like, I mean, restaurants and relaxation stations and stuff like that, like Launch Bay is pretty much the only place that's indoors that you can just hang around in. Everything else is either a queue for a ride, or a restaurant. And like before, I used to always go up to the second floor of Pizza Rizzo because it was empty and the doors were open, and I was just sitting there because it was cold and AC, or like on the balcony and stuff like that. Now you can't like go into any of these places. And now that like a lot of stores are closed, there's like no place to get away from the sun and the heat.
Yeah.
So it's a little, I mean, I know why, because it is how it is right now. But it's like, hey, it's hot, man. People gotta get comfortable.
I think while we're on it, sort of go over the things. I mean, we sort of have to compare Universal to Disney as far as what they're doing. To me, maybe the two negative things for me. Whereas like there are hand sanitizing stations at the entrance of an attraction, usually before you get on the ride or before pre-show, after you get off the ride. It's not mandatory. At Universal, they're literally there squirting hand sanitizer on you before you get on the attraction. So, I mean, you've got to depend on other people. I mean, I saw mostly other people, getting hand sanitizer usually at some point while they're in the queue. I think the other thing too is the way they are handling quick service dining. When it comes to distancing, especially I've definitely seen around lunchtime, you have to do your mobile order, and then you can't go inside until it comes up on your app.
And this is Disney you're talking about.
This is Disney, and what ends up happening is a bunch of people standing outside Sometimes not, distancing themselves. And then you can go inside and get your food and then find a place to sit. Whereas Universal, you come in, you find a place to sit, then you order, and then they bring the food to you. I felt that was a better experience at Universal compared to Disney. It'll be interesting to see if they modify that. I mean, overall, my feeling is if you want a comfortable dining experience right now in the parks at Disney World, get a reservation for a sit-down restaurant. It's a better experience. We went to Skipper Canteen one of the days at Magic Kingdom, and it was later in the day, and we ended up being in like the sea room all by ourselves. Albeit, they're still going to, even when we looked in the room itself, the amount of tables they would, they're using like, half the normal tables they use. And so it's like, even if there were other people there would have been like, I think 3 other tables that were nowhere near where we were. It's just a better experience, sit down right now compared to the quick service experience. If you're going to eat indoors, I just feel like it's a nicer, cleaner experience, and less troublesome than the quick service mobile ordering is right now. And you don't have to deal with, especially like with Galaxy's Edge, there is a lack of tables for like Ronto's Roasters and Dockside and Dockside Docking Bay.
Dockside.
And it's just and really it hasn't been that hard to get reservations for a lot of restaurants. So what about you, Vincent?
As far as that one day I was at Hollywood Studios, I went to get a Ronto wrap because come on, I got to get a Ronto wrap. It's been so long.
Yeah, we all had to get one. Yeah,
and doing the mobile. I get it without coleslaw. I'm a baby, but you got to mobile order first. Sorry. Yeah, please go.
About the coleslaw. I hate coleslaw, but for some reason it doesn't bother me on the Ronto wrap.
No, I like it. Yeah.
I don't know why. I can't stand, like, if I get like a side of coleslaw, I'll ask them not to put it on my tray. But for some reason, when I see a Ronto wrap all ready to go with the coleslaw, I'm just like, and I enjoy it. It's so weird. Anyways, sorry.
I'll be sure to get it on there when I get back in the park in 2027.
Give it a shot. I have faith in you, good sir. Coming from somebody that absolutely can't stand coleslaw, and I love barbecue, and all that stuff, but for some reason it doesn't bother me on the Ronto wrap. So sorry. Back to you, sir.
Well, they're making you mobile order, and they're not letting you go sort of where you need to go until it's like ready. And it's funny because like I went to get a blue milk early in the day at like 10, right when it opened, and there was nobody in line, and they're just like, "Sorry, mobile order first, then you can get in line." And I was like, it's like that scene in what's that movie? Meet the Parents. Where it's like where Ben Stiller has the boarding group and he's like, "Oh, it's my turn." And he's like, "Oh, you have to wait your turn." There's nobody there. It was like that. And with like, especially with the Ronto wrap, I went to do that and I was waiting because it was the lunchtime, but like it was so hot. And you're right. And Barry's right. People were just like standing and everyone's just clumped up in their little groups, but there was just such a buildup of people. I think I would 1,000% recommend getting a sit down restaurant. It's going to be it's a lot easier than it's been before, and it's just a better experience.
And there wasn't, I mean, at Universal, it's consistent that it's mobile order everywhere you go, albeit their experience is more of like a fast casual place. Whereas like there are some places where it's like it's mobile order, but there's also a cash register open. Because it was that way, I believe, at Rosie's All-American Cafe over on Sunset Boulevard. They had one register open, and it's like, I can see where it's going to be confusing to some people. It's like, okay, well, this place doesn't have any registers, but this place does. And it may have been because that place is outside, and that might have been why.
We did sci-fi dining with the kids, and they loved that. Oh, my God. They were like... They're socially distancing the cars. It was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I didn't know when I first went to Sci-Fi Diner that it was like that. I'd always seen that it was like, oh, you sit in a little car. I didn't know you would be like 3 rows of, and I was like literally right behind some other couple, and I'm like, this is a make out point. They're like right in front of me. What are we doing?
No, that Monday was all about spoiling the kids because we've had them locked up in the house for months on end. So I wanted them to have fun. I was like, sci-fi drive-in was a cool thing for them to experience. With the movie theater and the cars and everything, and it was a good time. The kids loved it. So, anyways,
what about you, Clint? Anything you noticed?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I was there. I was so focused. Like I just said, on the kids. Having fun. And with that being said, being there with my 3 kids, my wife, and I felt safe throughout the whole day. All 3 of my kids, they've been really well behaved with their masks. Occasionally, my oldest Jordan, he'll pull it down and he'll, to start talking. I'm like, Jordan, mask back up. But all 3 of my kids, they've been really, I took Jordan to SeaWorld, and he was good there. And all 3 of them were really well behaved at Disney. That's not to say all kids are the same. They're not. But I can't think of anything right off the top of my head that was, anything different or anything bizarre that I saw or that I liked, didn't like. We had a fun day, and we all needed that.
I think the biggest difference, you're going to see at Disney is large families, and some of them aren't paying attention to how much space they're taking up.
You saying that reminded me of something. Back when we were talking about, the plexiglass panels in the queue line. Mm-hmm. We need some mirrors installed because there's points I can't really think of what queue it is right now, but there were certain points throughout the day where I was like, I couldn't see around the corner if there was another marker for me to stand on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. and then you go, and then you're like, oh, there's people. And then you start to back up, but the people behind you have gotten forward, and you're like,
it's like this awkward situation. The walls
are closing in. Like,
it was really, really awkward. So,
and it's, when we were in line for Runaway Railway, we had there was like a family of 9 in front of us, so we had to give them an extra. We were like, we're giving them an extra space. Also, they were being annoying and not even paying attention to anything. But we gave them an extra space in front of us because it's just like, no, we're not. You're not getting anywhere near me.
There was a big group when we were riding Runaway Railway too, so I was like, do we give them 2 lines to stand on, or what's going on here?
Well, it's funny because it's like, and it's really, you have to pay attention for other people who aren't paying attention. We were in line when we got into, the Falcon for Smuggler's Run, the lounge area. I don't know what to call it. The group in front of us moved up to the next space, but there's one dude on his phone not paying attention, and the cast member was like, pointing to the next thing, and I was like, no, dude, not until he moves. It's like, not to be a jerk, but it's like I'm not getting near this person, and I think that's going to be, especially in the Magic Kingdom, and this definitely affected I took Sin, my wife, there. She got definitely on edge a few times with some large families just not paying attention to what's their kids or what's going on around them, and they're still wearing their masks, but it's like, do not get near me. It's like.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to, your comfort level. And, we've said this before, how comfortable are you going to these parks? Can you deal with these situations? Everybody's going to be different. So,
I mean, then I go to went to Animal Kingdom on Sunday.
I was going to say, can you give us a quick overview of Animal Kingdom before we wrap up here?
It's I think people sometimes forget. I mean, albeit the safari takes up a huge chunk of the park, but Animal Kingdom's a pretty large park.
Yeah,
with the jungle out there,
with fairly large walkways, and
I have a sound effect for that.
But by 2 hours before park closed, the place was empty. Flight of Passage was a walk on. And I mean, like, there was 2 other people near me walk on. The pathways, you could walk down some of the pathways and there was no one there.
Yeah.
No, it was very interesting. The only other thing that was much like I feel like if you're hungry towards park close, you're not going to be in good shape, because like they just like, at least that park, I think that almost everything was shut down.
Yeah.
The last couple hours, and it's I mean, I think it comes down to we've had this discussion before. It comes down to
how were the boat things with the characters? Were those as awkward as they look on video of like the characters like on the barges?
I will say this: the cool thing, every 10 minutes a boat went by. Every 10 minutes.
It seemed like there was a lot of them.
There's a lot. I will say, Animal Kingdom's probably got the most characters out of any of them. Magic Kingdom's up there. Hollywood Studios seems a little bit weak. There's basically 3 motorcades and that's it. We haven't gotten, Epcot seems to have a lot going on, but I mean, there's a boat going by every 10 minutes with different characters, or the Discovery Island drummers, and you get your chance. I think it's really fun. And, there's some parts you can, if you're over there, that pathway from Africa to Pandora, they're really up close. They get pretty close because it's pretty tight through the river there.
Yeah.
So it's that. I mean, that was fun, and it actually keeps a nice little energy going around. Around the whole Discovery Island and into the different Africa, Asia areas, because the characters are, you can almost always at some point you'll be able to see the characters, and I thought it was all really well done, the way they did everything, and it's but it was hot. It was very, very hot, and I think it all comes down to we've talked about it before, your comfort level. The moment you walk out the door right now, you're taking a risk, and it's all about how comfortable you feel being out in the parks with people. But really, I feel like if you're going to go do anything right now, it's probably the safest thing you can do.
Yeah.
Outside of going down some nature trail by yourself. I like I said, our comfort level is different because we're all working. We're all out and about around people.
Yeah.
Like I said, for some people who haven't really gone out, you're probably going to get a little freaked out going to the parks. So.
Yeah, I don't have any experience, like you said, with this being my first time out of the house, because like you said, I've been working through this, my job, and so going to the theme parks was, it was exciting again, and all that, but I don't get I don't freak out like some other people do about, the groups of people, and I just avoid it and, go about my day. Whereas, other people are panic about that sort of thing, which is fine. Anyways, so.
And adding on to that, I don't think we're here trying to say whether or not you should go. But I will say, like, if you are someone who is willing to go right now, I think is the best time to show up, because the park's just nobody here. And I don't think I think a lot of people were waiting for Disney World to open up to make things busy again in Orlando. Yeah. But I don't think it really happened. And maybe it'll get busier, but it didn't. So it's super easy. You can walk onto every ride at Magic Kingdom, and
it's hard to
have a great time.
Yeah, it's hard too, because like we'll be posting content on ThrillGeek and stuff, and we'll have people asking us, like, oh, this looks like a great time to plan a vacation and fly down. And I'm like,
in a weird way.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if they're being sarcastic.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like I don't want to be like, yeah, come on down,
No.
Like I think it really depends on, how comfortable you are. If you have kids, that's a huge. There is no way I have 3 kids. There is no way if I lived up in, say, Pennsylvania or New York, somewhere up north, I don't. I could say without a doubt, I would not want to come down right now with all the planning and all the stuff going on. As tempting as it would be with these empty wait times, but I think the best thing to do would be to just do a road trip down here. Because I think the big thing is flying.
Yeah.
I think they're still, deterring people from flying, and then you have that whole 2-week quarantine thing if you're flying into Florida because we're, getting 10,000 new cases every day. And, sorry, I just smacked my microphone here. I think flying's a big thing to do with it, so if you can drive down, if you're somewhere, up north and, you can throw the family in the car and do a road trip to Disney, I think that would be the best way to go right now.
Yeah. Or if you have a private jet.
Or if you have a private jet,
yeah, then you're good to go too. Come on down. We'll be happy to have you.
Throw the whole family in the jet and just head on down. So, anyways, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We've been, I just looked and we already been over an hour. Time goes fast. So, really quick, Vincent, tell everybody where everybody can find you online and your YouTube channel and all that good stuff.
You guys, I'm making videos on YouTube. Wow. It's on the YouTubes, youtube.com/VincentVision. Wow. That's where I put my theme park videos. I try to put them out as often and frequently. This is a good time in Orlando for theme parks because everything is reopening. Well, I guess now this is like the last big thing. Everything's open now, right?
Yeah.
All the big, all the major, all like the major theme parks.
Back to normal.
Yeah, we're doing very heavy fingers here.
Very heavy finger quotations.
But you guys can check me out on there. I'm pretty active on Twitter as well, VincentVision4D. You can get me on Instagram as well. I post pictures there. But yeah, please check out if you don't already, please check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/VincentVision. I think I'm putting out pretty good stuff, and I hope you guys like it.
You are. I love all your videos.
Yeah.
They're so creative and they're so much fun.
Thank you guys.
I'm
really,
too lazy to do that.
Yeah. Just the creativity and your fun intros and everything, and make sure you guys go check out his YouTube channel. You won't be disappointed. So, anyways, Vincent, thank you once again for hanging out with us on the podcast. We greatly appreciate you coming on and chatting Disney World reopening with us. I hope you
thank you guys for having me. I had a good time.
Sure, of course, anytime you want to come on, just let us know. And anything, if there's anything ever on your mind and you want to chat about it, let us know. So
will do. Thank you guys.
Yeah, Barry, anything else?
No, good. I think we're good. And if you guys were lucky enough, we've been all over media the last week.
I know.
Between BBC Radio, AccuWeather of all places, CBS News, which got us on the Daily Show of all places, where Trevor Noah sort of made a joke out of a video that I shot. So
we got roasted by Trevor Noah. So I'm officially retiring.
So it's been a crazy week here. But remember, we are at ThrillGeek on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/ThrillGeek. Please like and follow our Facebook page, YouTube.com/ThrillGeek. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have multiple videos and multiple vlogs up of all of Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom reopening. So many videos. Even more videos are still in the process of coming to our YouTube channel. ThrillGeek.com for the latest in theme park and pop culture news. And of course, you're listening to the ThrillGeek Podcast. Wherever you can get a podcast, you can get the ThrillGeek Podcast.
Yeah, and you can even watch me unbox a Haunted Mansion Hallmark Christmas ornament on our YouTube channel. So, anyways, Vincent, thank you once again for joining us, and thanks guys for chatting with us on the live stream. We didn't really kind of. Michael, thank you once again for hanging out with us. Allie, Katie, thanks guys for hanging out with us, and thanks for listening. And we'll see you guys next week.
Stay safe, and we'll see you in the parks.
All right, now this
Welcome
is
to the after show.
After show.
Oh gosh, good stuff. All right.
Look at my dog. Oh,
what?
He finally got his spot.
Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I can't go back to sleep. Go back to sleep.
I just saw your hat, the Mission Breakout hat. That's awesome.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I just not realized what it was. Yeah.
In the back, it says something there too. Yeah, man.
And is it a fitted hat too?
It's supposed. Wow, what am I doing? It's supposed to be. Yeah, it is. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not like a snapback.
I bought this from someone because I really like Mission Breakout, and I saw the hat one time, and I was like, I want that hat.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
I will not buy a baseball cap unless it's flex fit. You know, the stretchy thing in the back. I hate the snaps and all that.
I have I like the Velcro. I can do Velcro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if
I don't like the one
Velcro,
where you like put it into the thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's almost like the old belts where you have to put it through the loop and all that crap. I hate that.
No.
Yeah. So, no, we were talking about earlier, the Droid Depot, the whole droid experience is so much fun. I loved it.
I want to do it, and that's like my last. Oh, look at the dog. That's like one of the last things I've yet to do at Galaxy's Edge, and I'll get around to it once I have more money.
You did. Did you do the lightsaber?
I did. I did zombies.
Who am I asking?
And it was cool, man. It was cool, and I low key would have done it again. So something that's cool that they're doing is, even though they are not doing the Savi's like experience, you can still get your lightsaber fixed. So like, I had an issue with mine, and I forgot to bring it the day I went, but I needed to get the battery replaced. I didn't even know you could
get your lightsaber fixed. So this is news to me.
I remember one day I had it and I dropped it and I dinged a piece.
Yeah.
So I went to them and I was like, hey, this like fell and it dinged. Can you like help me out? And they just went in the back and switched it out with a brand new piece.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And most recently, like the battery broke over quarantine and I tried to get it. I wanted to get it fixed. And they were like, I forgot to bring it, but they were like, oh, if you show up with it, we'll take care of it.
Interesting.
So I didn't know
they're
still doing that.
No, that's cool. I didn't know that they did that. You know, you could like go there and get it fixed and stuff. That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah. I definitely want to do that. And like I said, the only reason we bought 3 droids is because you can do the 50% off with the cast member discount there.
Yeah, so that's like $50.
Well, there's like a bundle you can get with the backpack and the chip that you can put in the droid to change its like sound effects. And it's like $164.
For 3?
For 2. Well, no, that's for 1. We did 2 of those, and then we did just a regular droid at $100, $50. But the bundle with the backpack and the chip is regularly $160, so it was like $80, $85. So we got 2 of those. In the backpacks, it's actually a really nice backpack. It's got like a foam insert. And
for the droid.
Yeah, it's got a round bottom for the BB units, and then it's got 2 little holes on the edge for the R2 units, which, trust me, and now that we have both the BB units and the R2 units, the R2 units are a far better value because they have so many more accessories that you can buy. Like, here, look.
Do the BB units roll?
See the blaster rifle on him? Yes. I bought the blaster rifles.
Nice.
And they light up and they make sounds. Whereas the BB units have like stickers. And you can get jetpacks for the R2 units. I got the serving tray from R2D2 in Return of the Jedi.
I saw that.
Nice. It's got like green. I think it's green milk. I haven't. Yeah. It's like little cups of green milk. It's the funny. It's so stupid. It doesn't do anything. It's purely a novelty.
Do the BB-8 units roll?
They do, but it's kind of clunky. Like,
but it's
I'm used to the. We have this. Did you ever see the Sphero BB-8 one that you can control with your phone?
The little tiny one. Yeah.
Yeah, the little tiny one basically fits in your palm of your hand. I think I'm so used to that one. That thing flies. Like when it connects to your phone and you start moving him, he goes all over the place. Like he's like zipping around. Whereas I think the Build-A-Droid, the BB units, it looks realistic. Like if you watch BB-8 in the movie and then you look at the droid, it's kind of got that sluggish kind of when he's just kind of cruising along type look to it.
Yeah.
The the boys, they got one of the BB units, and my daughter, she got a purple one. But
I'm looking at a video of it now.
yeah, the R2 units are definitely a better value. They're fast. This thing like hauls butt. So, anyways, it was fun. It's a fun little experience to to pick all your pieces, and then they give you the little mechanical screwdriver, and you're screwing in the legs, and I was like a kid in a candy store. It was a cool experience, and I felt safe. We were talking about safety. The guy that comes up and kind of guides you through the whole thing, he was wearing a face shield and a face mask. And they wipe down your whole area because you got a few buttons that you can push to call the person over to help you out, and then you got to activate your droid, and that button's all clean and sanitized. So it was cool. It was a cool experience, and again, the kids had a blast, which was why we're there. So but Dad had fun too. Like I said, there were points where I didn't know if I was having more fun or my kids were.
I'm sure it's probably a lot less busy on cast member preview versus like the regular day.
It was pretty slow.
Yeah, but the only difference is Rise of the Resistance because these cast members have been deprived of it.
Yeah, it was so funny on Twitter, like seeing people like still like reacting to Rise of the Resistance like it was a brand new thing. Like I was seeing cast members like tweeting like, "Oh my God, Rise of the Resistance is the greatest thing ever," and I was like, "You haven't been on it yet?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, pretty much all cast members haven't gotten on it yet."
I wonder.
And I felt so bad.
And I guess they're blocked out until September.
I think so. I
feel like it's not going to be a thing.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
Well, it's like, here's your 50% off. You can't use it in the parks. Sorry.
Yeah, but you can go to Disney Springs. I'm like, just leave them be. Let them in the parks. Come on.
I'm going to wrap up the live stream here. Good night, guys.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right.
Mwah. Goodbye, Michael.